Okay, Tuesday, 24th of June, 2025. Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. It's going up forever, Laura. But how and why? Bitcoin is going up forever. How and why? There's a nice meme in the space, the Bitcoin space, and a nice first principle to understand here that because Bitcoin has a fixed supply and fiat doesn't, there's no limit to how many that can be created. Fiat's got no bottom, there's no limit, and therefore Bitcoin's got no top. There's no price that Bitcoin will settle at. It's always going to go up. And we can see this playing out in a lot of things, meaning a lot of things are going to zero against Bitcoin, meaning one Bitcoin buys you more things, meaning as the price of Bitcoin goes up in dollar terms, one Bitcoin buys you more stuff. 10 years ago, it might have taken you, I don't know, 100 Bitcoin to buy a Lamborghini, but now it might take you 2.5, 3. What does that tell you? One Bitcoin buys you more things. So, pro tip, when you go onto a Bitcoin standard, things get cheaper. And that is how everything is going up forever, because fundamentally Bitcoin is a black hole of money, meaning it's the new hurdle rate, meaning it's the new benchmark, new financial benchmark, meaning if you're not out competing Bitcoin or earning and growing more than Bitcoin in a year or over whatever time period, by definition you're losing money. You're in an investment, I use that word loosely as well, investment, or that decision you made was not as optimized as it could be, meaning you put £100 in Bitcoin today or £100 in something else today, and a year from now you might have 200 and it could be 105. That's what's called opportunity cost of capital, 95 quid. Now on that premise, on that principle, we understand that everything goes towards Bitcoin, because if it's out competing everything, why be in anything else? So people understand it and they're more inclined to buy it, especially as they understand the first principles behind Bitcoin. Bitcoin is maths, physics, and computer science. Mathematics, physics in terms of atoms, computer science in terms of open source code. Likewise, Bitcoin is money you can own, money you can spend, apolitical, decentralized, with a fixed supply, and censorship resistant. First principles, all of these embedded in maths and physics and code. And as more people understand those things and how they separate risk from volatility and understand that risk is just third-party risk, Bitcoin is optimized for decentralization and security. So as all these things stripped away from it, earnings calls, legal risk, tariff risk, supply chain risk, management risk, CEO risk, scandal risk, legal risk, you name it, doesn't exist. And because of another first principle, the fixed supply, that's why it's going up forever. Because there'll only be a certain number of them that will ever exist. It's fixed. With Bitcoin, we have absolute scarcity. As people understand Bitcoin, they want to get it. They want to get more and more of it to benefit from these things. Therefore, it's going up forever. And as a supply of Bitcoin decreases because of the mining and the infrastructure, the protocol, the code, again, physics, computer science, maths, physics, computer science, and the computer science open source code says the protocol every 4 years gets cut in half, so there's less and less Bitcoin that comes into existence. Therefore, the inflation rate is going to zero, meaning there are fewer and fewer Bitcoin that will come into existence, meaning the supply is going down. Yet as more people understand the first principles of Bitcoin, how they can benefit from it, how they can use it in their business, how they can build on top of Bitcoin, the demand only goes one way, up and up and up and up and up. More businesses, more innovation, more infrastructure, more awareness, more understanding, more demand. All these things drive demand. But if demand is going up forever, or exponentially so, and supply is going down at a predictable rate, because it gets open source code, we know when it will go to less than 1% or 0.5% of inflation per year. What does that mean? Less supply, more demand. Wow. And then you compound that with the hurdle rate. People are going to say, well, why would I hold this asset when Bitcoin, I can earn more dollars over the same time period? Why would I take? And then you compound that with the risk. But this is going to earn me less money and I got more headaches. But this will earn me much more money with a lot fewer headaches. It's a no-brainer. So they understand it. So as they understand Bitcoin more, therefore the demand may always increase as more people are born and born into a Bitcoin native world. Just how digital natives, world internet native, people knew no different. People understand it more, increases demand. And what's also interesting is that demand, no matter where the price or demand goes, the supply can never change. Gold, for example, the price goes higher, it becomes more economically viable for the miners to dig for gold in more obscure, hidden away places. I know there's some gold over there, but the price of gold is too low, so it doesn't justify it to me economically to dig there. It'll be too expensive. But because Bitcoin protocol, the code, open source code, is the same, it can't change. Nothing can change the supply and issuance rate. We can't mine an entire year's worth of Bitcoin like that. The code is the code. The maths is the maths. The physics is the physics. It's going up forever because no one can change the issuancy. And issuancy says decrease. Going down and down. Harder and harder. More and more scarce. Therefore, demand goes up. People understand it. Supply goes down. That's how it's going up forever. And we can see this playing out in many charts. You just look at something like BTC to dollar, and you notice that the dollar is crashing against it. BTC to Argentine peso, Turkish lira, Indian ruble, Chinese yuan, euro, pound, you name it, all going to zero. And when we say zero, we mean that the smallest currency unit doesn't even buy one Satoshi. Wow. So if you look at, say, Bitcoin to Argentine peso, I forgot which combination, but one of the two, your Argentine peso to Bitcoin, the smallest 1 peso does not even buy one Satoshi. And then you look at the chart over the past 10, 15 years, and that's gone down and down and down, meaning at one point it would have taken 100 pesos to buy one Bitcoin. 1,000, meaning 1 peso at one point could have bought you half a Bitcoin, could have bought you 2 Bitcoin at one point in the past. But now it's the complete opposite. That chart right there embodies this idea here. It's going up forever. Everything goes to zero against Bitcoin. The maths, look at the chart. That is showing it. It's coming to fruition. And when in doubt, zoom out. But the chart over the past 5 days has gone the opposite way. 5 days, try 5 years. Zoom out. In trading, the trend is your friend. And if you see the peso going to zero against Bitcoin, the trend is your friend. The further out you zoom, the longer the time horizon, the clearer the trend is. What does that tell you? Powerful, powerful stuff. It's going up forever, Laura. It really, really is. Why? Supply issuance going down, demand increasing, and we see it via the hurdle rate and the incentives, and we see it via things like peso going to zero against Bitcoin. Powerful, powerful stuff. But otherwise, Adrian's Daily Vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Subscribe for more, and you will see me tomorrow.